The US is seen as a rival by Russia, and it will use all of its power, including its military, to gain the upper hand. President Vladimir Putin's European country has been bolstering its armed forces. To counter the growing threat, the US is preparing. Elon Musk, though, is its formidable ally in the fight back. With the numerous partnerships the US military has with Musk, a genius, it can dramatically increase its capabilities. What is the most recent project Musk is working on with the US military, and how would it aid the US in defeating its main rival, Russia? The US military is asking Elon Musk for assistance to counter the growing threat posed by Russia. The tense-side relationship between the two countries is reaching a breaking point following Russia's invasion of Ukraine. It doesn't matter that Musk appears to have a beef with the president of his country. He will rise to the occasion to defend his country when necessary. You might be curious about the military capabilities of the two nuclear superpowers. Let's quickly review the annual report on the military balance for 2022 from the International Institute for Strategic Studies (IISS) to find out. 2020's US defense budget was $715 billion, far exceeding Russia's $62.2 billion outlay for the same time. Compared to the US 1.4 million active military personnel, Russia is about 900,000. Russia holds the advantage with around 2 million reserve personnel compared to America's 843,450. Russia claims to have 339 ICBM launchers, less than the US 400. Russia possesses 1,172 combat-ready aircraft compared to the United States 1,570. Russia's assault helicopter fleet has nearly doubled, while the US has more than 8 times as many crewless aerial vehicles. The United States holds an advantage at sea due to its 13 additional attack-guided missile submarines and 3 additional ballistic missile nuclear-powered submarines. Russia only has 1 aircraft carrier compared to America's 11. Russia only owns 31 destroyers, cruisers, and frigates compared to the US 113. However, Russia has made more investments in amphibious ships and currently has 49 as opposed to the US 31. While the US, Russia, and the Russian Space Command have intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance gear, the Russian Space Command rents radar technology from nearby nations. Both nations have satellites and communications technology. However, the US has space-based counter-communication systems. The US military is constantly looking to improve its military capabilities despite its clear advantage. One of the most recent significant additions is the US Space Force. It was established in December 2019 and will be stood up over the next 18 months. The US Space Force is a military service that organizes, trains, and equips space forces to protect US and allied interests in space and provide space capabilities to the joint force. USSF responsibilities will include developing Guardians, acquiring military space systems, maturing the military doctrine for space power, and organizing space forces to present to our combat comrades. Even though the US Space Force is still young, it has collaborated several times with Elon Musk through a space exploration company, SpaceX. The company received a $316 million contract in 2020 for launches between 2022 and 2024 for the US. Space Force, including National Reconnaissance Office (NRO) flights. Last month, SpaceX sent a US spy satellite into orbit in the second of 3 planned launches over 4 days. A 2-stage Falcon 9 rocket carrying the NROL-87 payload lifted off from Vandenberg Space Force Base in California. Of course, the military is not in the habit of disclosing the purpose of its satellites, so it is unclear what the spy satellite will do in space. The NRO operates the United States fleet of spy satellites, showing the mission sensitivity upon the NRO's request. SpaceX ended the launch webcast just after the first stage touched down. However, Musk's collaboration with the US military is much deeper than launching satellites for the Space Force. For example, Musk has just signed onto a massive air defense project with the US Air Force. The project is known as Rocket Cargo. What is Rocket Cargo? According to the Pentagon, it is a military program led by the United States Space Force that conducts research and aids in the development of capabilities such as landing a rocket on a wide range of non-traditional materials and surfaces, engineering a rocket cargo bay, and logistics for rapid loading and unloading, and airdropping cargo from the rocket after re-entry to service locations where a rocket or aircraft cannot land. The Air Force 2022 budget proposal requested millions of dollars for rocket cargo to continue the work it began last year to pursue the implementation of rocket cargo. The new rocket ship SpaceX is building is central to the rocket cargo program. It is the most powerful rocket ever developed and tested at SpaceX Tower Base facility in Boca Chica, Texas. The Starship is a 120-meter tall spacecraft that is 9 meters wide. It is a two-stage rocket that is completely reusable, making it better than the Falcon series, which can only be reused partially. It is the only rocket in development that will be capable of multiple flights. The Starship will separate into upper and lower stages after taking off and escaping the pull of Earth. The lower stage, also known as Super Heavy, will return to the land and prepare for the next launch, while the upper stage, known as the ship, will continue to its destination. Both stages are powered by a set of new Raptor engines that SpaceX is developing in tandem with the rest of the rocket. Rocket cargo will take advantage of the high payload capacity of the Starship, which can lift up to 150 tons of cargo to low Earth orbit, and the fast travel speed to strengthen the US military's response to provocations or attacks. This kind of application for the Starship is known as point-to-point space travel. This is a form of transportation in which a rocket would launch into space and then return to another location, making it hypothetically capable of bringing supplies or people from one side of the Earth to the other in under an hour. The military may even use it to transport troops from one part of the world to another, depending on the results of its test. Speaking on why the US Air Force selected SpaceX for rocket cargo, Dr. Greg Spanier, the Air Force Research Laboratories leader on the rocket cargo program, said, "We talked to several providers that we see potentially coming to the table to compete for these contracts, and SpaceX is certainly the most visible, no question about it." Musk's SpaceX, on the other hand, is the most visible and capable, having recently won a contract for the next stage of the rocket cargo project. The contract is worth more than $102 million and will last 5 years. At the signing of the agreement, Spanier said that the contract formalizes a government-industry partnership to help determine exactly what a rocket can achieve when used for cargo transport, its true capacity, speed, and the cost of the integrated system. This contract is the largest one awarded to date for rocket cargo. The U.S. Transportation Command 2020 signed cooperative research and development agreements with SpaceX and Exploration Architecture Corporation (XARC) to study concepts for rapid transportation through space. The command last month also signed a CRADA with Blue Origin. However, at this stage, the contract is not specific to any of SpaceX's launch vehicles. The Air Force Research Lab, or AFRL, will have access to SpaceX commercial orbital launches and booster landings to collect key data on environmental signatures and performance. SpaceX will also provide cargo bay designs that allow faster loading and unloading and are more compatible with transcontinental intermodal containers used in the United States. The contract also includes an option for a full demonstration of heavy cargo transport and landing. Aside from transporting cargo and supplies for the U.S. military, the contract extends to disaster relief and humanitarian aid deliveries. However, there aren't spaceports everywhere that disaster strikes, so landing a rocket filled with necessary supplies is a challenge that must be overcome. To deal with this obstacle, Spanier said that the AFRL is exploring a wider range of novel trajectories to mitigate overflight issues, exploring a broad range of landing options for Austrian sites, researching human factors when landing near populations, and integrating a wider range of cargo, including medical supplies. AFRL will leverage several commercial demonstration launches to collect the data over the next few years. Every time SpaceX flies pertinent missions, the Air Force will gather information. In a few years, a thorough demonstration of the ability to transfer heavy freight to another site on Earth might be made, although that has yet to be decided. However, SpaceX's work with the US military is not limited to rocket cargo. The business has also tested its Starlink broadband internet service on a US Air Force tactical aircraft. SpaceX is amending its experimental permit for new test activities carried out with the federal government following a request submitted to the Federal Communications Commission. These limited testing would be supplemented by a moving ground vehicle to show that it is possible to send and receive data from 2 stationary ground sites, 1 airborne aircraft, and 2 stationary ground sites simultaneously. For the demonstration, SpaceX is working with Pentagon contractor Ball Aerospace. The test also falls under the Defense Experimentation Using Commercial Space Internet, or DEUCSI, program of the Air Force Research Laboratory, for which a $9.7 million contract was given. The idea is to incorporate a special installation kit with mechanical plates for the low-profile antennas and a fairing to lessen the aircraft's wind resistance. The capability of SpaceX non-geostationary orbit system to broadcast and receive data between both stationary on-the-ground sites and airborne Earth stations aboard moving aircraft has previously been shown. SpaceX has launched more than 2,000 Starlink satellites so far, and it continues to do so with the primary goal of providing satellite broadband to millions of consumers, some of whom lived in rural locations. Starlink can offer a speedier internet connection to its troops anywhere in the world, including a conflict zone or a distant jungle, provided there is a receiving dish, so it's obvious that the US military also wants to benefit from it. That is our video for today. We hope you like it. How do you feel about Elon Musk working with the US military? Share all of your thoughts with us in the comment section below. Well, that's all for now. This is Big Tech Media. See you again tomorrow. Keep in mind to like, share, and subscribe.